Hello, welcome to India Today Global on Republic Day. First of all, happy Republic Day to all of you. We thought we'd do this very quick live to explain something to you, which is the choice of India's Republic Day chief guest this year. That is, of course, Indonesia's president, Prabowo Subianto. Ever since 1950, India has almost always invited a very important global leader, usually a head of state, to come to India and preside over the Republic Day ceremonies. It often signals something very important about India's foreign policy. It might interest you to know that in 1950, India's first Republic Day, the first chief guest ever invited to India was, of course, Indonesia's President Sukarno. He was a great champion of the anti-colonial movement, a great admirer of India's freedom struggle, and of course, it's a strange and interesting kind of symmetry that 75 years later, we are again inviting an Indonesian president to India for Republic Day. Now, we figured that it would be an interesting idea to tell you a little bit about why this Republic Day chief guest, Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto, was picked. There's almost always a hidden reason why India picks each Republic Day chief guest. Oftentimes, it is a matter of strategy, it is a matter of foreign policy signaling, it is a matter of trying to get some urgent and important deals done. So just to give you an example, I talked about Sukarno, the great Indonesian leader, the great anti-colonial leader. India had a great deal of affinity with him. That was the era of idealism in India's foreign policy, an era of anti-colonialism, and therefore we brought in someone like Prabowo Subianto. We also had a number of British leaders and a number of leaders from around the world as India was establishing its foreign policy, maintaining also both its links to the developing world, but also its links to the Western world. That was the era of a Nehruvian alignment. As we move into the 70s and you look at that list of Republic Day chief guests, you get a large number of very left-wing, very communist leaders as India's foreign policy moved towards more alignment with the Soviet Union, as well as more radical views about the international order. That was the era of more alignment towards the Soviet Union and India's foreign policy. And in recent years, you really see, again, this sense of multi-alignment in Indian foreign policy, where the people that India invites are from all over the world, representing very different strategic directions for India, including in 2015 when Barack Obama was invited. He was the first ever US president to be invited as Republic Day chief guest. It was a sign of how much the India-US relationship had changed that Obama was invited to Republic Day. You know, India was a country that saw America with a great deal of hostility, but at one point in time, but now, of course, that relationship has transformed, and a significant milestone in that transformation was Barack Obama being invited for Republic Day. So there is almost always a signal that India is trying to send in its relationship with particular countries. Sometimes it can invite people because it wants to push specific deals and specific initiatives through. One idea, for example, was when in the 2010s, we had the president of South Korea, Lee Myung-bak, come to India as Republic Day chief guest. And that was, of course, when South Korea's steel maker, POXO, had just announced that it would be setting up a steel mill in India. Of course, that project ran into difficulties, but it was the single largest foreign direct investment project in India for a very long time, billions and billions of dollars coming in. And that was a specific initiative that India was trying to push with South Korea. And of course, its president was invited as Republic Day chief guest. So there's always a reason. There's a reason this time as well. Of course, we have Indonesia's President Prabowo Subianto, a former military general who's just taken control of Indonesia just a couple of months ago as president. And with Indonesia, a very important thing is India's defense relationship with the country of Indonesia, especially reports that we're hearing that the two countries are going to be considering the sale of the India-developed BrahMos missile to Indonesia for a price tag of what we're hearing is around $450 million. That is a conversation that has been happening. You had the bilateral discussions between Prime Minister Modi and President Subianto just yesterday, and President Subianto announced that soon after he departs from India, a high-level delegation visit on defense cooperation matters is going to be coming from Indonesia, and they are going to be looking at very key issues, working with India on defense issues, on maritime issues, and so on and so forth. And of course, as I said, the BrahMos missile, which is something that India has sold to the Philippines, and now will be looking to sell to Indonesia. We know that those talks have been going on for a very long time. We will likely see some movement forward on that particular issue. But of course, lots of conversations between India and Indonesia on the subject, given the fact that Indonesia is the dominant player in Southeast Asia. It is Southeast Asia's most important country in many ways. It is the most populous. It has the largest geopolitical weight in terms of its strategic alignment, in terms of its population, in terms of just the sheer history of Southeast Asia. So what has happened, of course, is that a defense cooperation agreement between India and Indonesia has now been ratified, and what you're going to see is a high-level military delegation coming in. The two countries, of course, have really been improving their military relationship for quite a while now. They have had the Samudra Shakti naval exercises since 2018. Remember, these are two major Indo-Pacific nations, countries that have strong maritime policies as well, and of course, you have some of the Shakti exercises the two countries have been doing together for the last 7 years. They have also built an agreement on maritime security and safety together. That is, again, something that the two countries have been working on. There has been a push for more cooperation in terms of air-to-air cooperation, as well as having staff talks between the two sides. That is also another key issue. Again, what's also happened in 2018 was that the two countries raised their relationship to the level of a comprehensive strategic partnership. That's also extremely important because in India, there are these terms that are often associated with partners. So there's, of course, a strategic partnership, comprehensive strategic partnership, special global and comprehensive strategic partnership. So it's a sense of terminologies that you use for particular countries in terms of how the depth and the range of the partnership that you have with those nations. And so comprehensive strategic partnership is what we have in Indonesia. We've had it for the last 7 years. And also, of course, a large part of that has been defense industry collaboration. Of course, Prime Minister Modi yesterday also announcing that defense manufacturing between India and Indonesia is something that the two countries are going to be looking at extremely closely. You also have defense industry seminars that have taken place, trying to get more people interested as Indonesia looks to expand its military might, looks to expand its ability to take on defense challenges in light of the fact that there has been a very difficult military situation in the South China Sea, in Southeast Asia, and more broadly in the Indo-Pacific. So that was a very, very brief introduction to India, Indonesia, defense, the BrahMos missile, and why Prabowo Subianto has been invited this year as India's Republic Day chief guest. As I said, there's always a reason, and you always have to look you have to read a little bit between the lines to understand why a particular leader has been invited. There's always a signal that's how India is sending, or a project that it wants to push. As always, it is linked to India's national interest. Thank you so much for joining us here on Republic Day. Please do enjoy. And of course, the Republic Day parades are going to begin very shortly, perhaps in the next 30 minutes. And we'll be watching along with the rest of you. Thank you so much.